俺はカイドウをぶっ倒しに行く。
Fame, power, and wealth beyond your wildest dreams. This is a Boy in a Barrel podcast. Before I'm hung from the gallows, I am your host for this evening, Pirate King Nato, and with me is my co-host and future Pirate King himself, Dane Pevy. How are you, buddy? It's been a while for us.
It has been a while, my friend. I was just saying to you, it's been a while between drinks, but good to be back, good to be in front of the mic. We've had things going on. You've been to PAX. I've been sitting on my ass, doing stuff. Things, but it's good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back,
we're also back to animated form rather than this live action fooey and stuff like that. Hopefully,
100%.
I get those episodes out in a time. And as we were discussing just before, I think it was like a nearly 3-year episode. So
it was good, mate. We had a lot of fun with our good friend Brendan White.
Yes, but if this is your first podcast with us, this is a Boy in a Barrel podcast, a podcast where me, super fan of One Piece, takes my good friend Dane Pevy through his first watch through of the One Piece, and
probably only watch through.
Huh?
It'll be my only watch through.
You'll see.
It's not going to be it's going to be my first and last.
No, I don't think it will. I've been there's a lot of like content creators that have been getting into One Piece, and I think it's also my algorithm is like getting these new people, and like I've got a bunch of Instagrammers that I listen to or watch, and a few YouTubers, and it's like their first run to, and a few of them are in their like 800, 900s, and they're getting to the I don't want to be like the rest of them, like waiting for episodes and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, that's step one, and then step two is like, you know what, I'm gonna go back from the start again and catch up while I'm waiting for new episodes.
Oh my god, I'd be happy just to go back and watch the highlights, or if there's something that you watch and you're like, hey, I'm pretty sure I've seen that somewhere, and to go back and look at that.
Yeah, that's what you do. You probably go back and start watching, like you watch a scene or like a set of like, oh, I want to watch this fight again, or I want to watch this thing, and that's the next step. And then the next one's like, you know what, like I'll watch a couple episodes together. Next week you're like, oh, you know what, I'll watch an arc because like I want to go back and re-experience Alabaster or something like that, or where you are in the story. We won't spoil that too much because you've gone very far.
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. So I've got to be really mindful. Like you and I, we're going to do this thing. We're going to have this podcast. We're going to watch every arc. We're going to stop. We're going to go. Well, more so me.
You got sucked up in it.
I know. And now I'm sitting it. I can disclose what episode I'm up to, can't I?
Okay. Yeah. Actually, yeah. You're nearly up to the Summit War, if that's not too much of a spoiler for everybody.
430. Episode 430. It's massive. Look at this thing. That's a lot of time. That's a massive time sink, mate.
Yeah. The time skip. That's what I said to you, where like I think you've overestimated yourself when you wanted to fully catch up to One Piece before you went to Japan. And I think
very overambitious.
Get to the time skip. Have a good break, whether that's like a month and then you come back, or just wait till you go to Japan, then come back and then watch post time skip and have that moment where like the crew's all coming back together and you're like, I missed you guys, I haven't seen you for ages. Because what was it that I was talking to Brendan? Oh no, not Brendan. I think it was Benny.
Benny's pretty far in.
Yeah, where he's up to, the crew had been apart from a while, like like a whole arc. One crew had gone to X spot, and then the other half of the crew has gone to X spot. So the whole arc was just with one half of the crew, and then the other arc was with the other half of the crew, and then the third arc was actually all them coming together. And then I think I estimated it in real time, if you were watching it like how I was watching it weekly, it was about 3 to 4 years since you'd seen the crew together all at the same time.
Far out.
As a watcher, yeah. So like it was real when they all kind of came together. They did this like Marvel-esque kind of landing and pose all together. And
see, I'm so happy I've not seen any of that. Like again, our algorithms are hitting me so hard, especially on Instagram, that I'm just like, I'm very fortunate to not have seen any of that.
I'm still worried it spoiled something real big that's coming up for you.
Nah, I don't think so.
I'm like,
mate, I don't know. I think
don't even delve your mind.
We're not even going to talk because we know Facebook and Meta's going to be listening to all this sort of stuff. So let's get on this.
So today's episode, we're going to be talking about LogueTown. So That's definitely the pronunciation we're going with. There's LogueTown. There's so many different versions. And in some translations, it's RogueTown, because apparently that it was a mistake of spelling or something like that. But people like Logue because it's like epilogue and all those kind of things, like the part of the story, because the title of the first episode is the beginning of the end or the end of the beginning. And that's kind of what LogueTown is. That's like,
very clever.
The end
Considering
of
Goldie Roger.
Yeah, the end of East Blue, but our beginning into the Grand Line itself. And us, the viewers, and as a pirate in the world, it's your last stop before you go into the Grand Line if you're from the East Blue. I wonder if the other, like, seas have their own, like, log town in a sense, because, yeah, who knows?
I don't know. I like it. I like it for the fact that, like, coming back to the Goldie Roger, I don't know if did Luffy know about Goldie Roger on LogueTown, or is it just Nami when they're sort of sailing off from
yeah, absolutely,
because
LogueTown is the birthplace of Roger.
Yeah, okay, so Luffy was all over that. So as soon as you knew that's LogueTown, he was all systems go, and they're picking up supplies there.
Because it's, and that's why it's another analogy, because it's both the beginning and end for Roger. Like, that's where he was born and that's where he was executed.
Yeah.
So, and it also, like, feeds into the like, conspiracy theory that, like, the East Blue, because the East Blue, I think they've mentioned a few times already, but I know in the Grand Line they talk about that the East Blue is the weaker of the four seas, and it's like, bro, like
Shanks
was here, like he wasn't born here. I think he's from the West Blue.
Oh, okay.
But Roger was born here. Like Shanks is here. Garp's from here. Dragon, that's all we'll just call him at the moment. Dragon's from here. Like, there's the conspiracy theory that it's like, it's purposely like propaganda from the government, the world government, that the East Blue is the weakest sea, so no pirates go there, because like, why would you go to the weakest sea? And like something, the One Piece apparently might be hidden in the East Blue or something like that, or something's hidden in the East Blue. Because if pirates aren't going there because it's the weakest sea, then nobody's discovering it accidentally and all that kind of stuff. But I've tangent majorly. But so LogueTown Arc. It's episodes 31 to 44. No, I think I've written that wrong. Let me have a quick check of that for a second.
31 to 44.
Sorry, it is episodes 45 and then 48 to 53 with episodes 50 and 51 being spoilers, and obviously 46, 47. 46 and 47 also being filler episodes as well.
So what is it about? 7 episodes?
Yeah, 7 episodes in total. It's the shortest of all of the
It's very short
that are big. But it is the first anime arc that was bigger than the manga arc itself. So it's actually more episodes than the manga was.
Because the manga's 5 chapters.
Yeah, I think it is about that. Like, it's tiny. Okay. Yeah, because the Goldie Roger execution isn't in the manga, I'm pretty sure, and then some other things that... Obviously, the filler episodes as well with... Yasop? Oh, no, not Yasop. Yeah.
Usopp.
Oh, man, now I'm mixing... Yeah.
Usopp?
Yeah, Usopp. Jeez, I'm mixing him and his dad.
Or his dad? Which one are we going with?
Yeah, no, I'm mixing up both. I'm mixing up father and son at the moment. Fighting Daddy, which is just a creepy kind of name these days. But back then, it wasn't that weird. And then Sanji doing the cooking competition, which is a cool callback in the live action. The dish that Sanji makes. That
was good. Yeah, that was
good. The
dish
that Sanji makes is the dish that he wins the cooking competition in LogueTown with.
See, and is that considered a filler?
Yes.
Well, see, again, like, you're very heavy on this. Don't need to watch the fillers. Just keep living your best life.
There are
Just move forward.
Look, there are fun filler episodes.
If they put that in the live action, that's a pretty, like, bit of a head nod there.
It's just a head nod to it of like, yeah, this is the dish that he made to win the cooking competition in the filler arc. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
But God, like, look.
And you never, the thing that I was really shitty about is you never actually see them eat it. Like, they spent so much time talking about this fish.
Elephant fish.
Elephant
bluefin tuna.
Elephant bluefin tuna, yeah.
Yeah.
and you never see them eat it. And I was like, oh, got it. I thought they'd like weave that into a storyline or something like that. Like they bring it out if they beat down like one of these big old baddies, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That's the fish.
No, because it's filler. So like, it disappears into the wind because it's not canon.
That's it.
But that's why like a lot of us that was big super fans appreciated the extra touches they put in the live action, because like we got to see those kind of things. Hey, that's the dish from the cooking competition. Like all us people that suffered through the fillers, it's like, here's our little rewards.
Yeah, I watched the filler, and that was before I was actually getting. I still watch it a lot of the fillers.
Like
too.
the daddy stuff, it wasn't that good. Like that episode dragged like hell. Like it was cool to see somebody that knew Usopp's dad and then give reference to Usopp and all that, but it's kind of just like that relationship's still not a cool thing and all that. And I do like how the live action kind of references that, where like, oh, you knew my dad? Cool. And it's like, yeah, I know, it's fucking horrible. All right, let's get into our summary. After Nami officially joins, after, getting a new cool tattoo, the crew heads to the last town to the entrance of the Grand Line, LogueTown, the place where Gold Roger, and we're calling it Gold Roger because it is still Gold Roger at this point. Even the bar itself is Gold Roger, no Gold D yet. Was born and executed. Not only will they have to deal with a powerful Marine captain, but also some previous enemies looking for revenge, which is cool because this like gave more reference to the live action, where like Buggy was a kind of recurring enemy in the live action, but this is kind of the first time a recurring enemy kind of pops back up in both him and Alvida, with the bit of, problematic devil fruit in a sense.
Yeah, the Alvida, that sort of threw me too. Like I had to look back to do the double take, and I'm like, you're not that Alvida that like we first saw.
Well, even Luffy says it like that. Like that's when she's just like, you remember me? And he's like, nope. And it's like, yeah, I'm skinny now and not ugly. And it's kind of like, okay. Yeah.
And what was the fruit? What was the fruit that she eats? And what does that actually do?
This is smooth fruit. So like it made her skin so smooth that anything would like just slip off it.
Sounds like the fruit of another one that I've seen.
Well, like recently. she seems like she is a trial character for like two separate like female characters in the future, which is like the CP9, like the soap fruit chick.
That's the one that I was thinking.
And also how everyone reacts to her is very Boa, which you've now met.
Mm-hmm.
Like who's the most pretty, and everyone gets the hard eyes, and then like the Marines are like, attack her, and they're like, we can't, she's too beautiful. And it's like very Boa Hancockish. So she seems like a prototype for two different characters as thing, and I think she kind of like disappears into the background after this. I think she might come back here and there.
She's pretty forgettable. She's just a dudette. I guess.
Like like for anyone, like obviously this is probably going to come out before the live action one. But Brendan definitely dumps on the live action version of that character. But like I still
he thought it was fine. He
said he was like, he was like, it's a community college actor. And I was like, I think that's more to do with the kind of what you had to work with Alvida. Like she's probably the least developed character in all of One Piece, which is very well developed characters. So you can see it more with her. Her and Captain Kuro are kind of the least developed characters in a sense.
Yeah, I didn't mind him.
And it shows.
Yeah, she was definitely forgettable. Yeah. She can go in the bin.
Yeah. All right. The key points that we kind of got in this, we are introduced. This is where we first get the Logia type fruits with Smoker's. Actually, his fruit is called. I wrote it down. The Moku
Puff.
Or the Plume fruit.
Okay, that's weird. Like usually there's like it's pretty easy. The Gum, which is rubber. Japanese.
It depends what translation gets done. And in a few of the dub, they kept a lot of the 4Kids translations.
Okay.
Especially in the earlier episodes.
Because you would think his would be more like Smoke or Puff or something like that.
Yeah, I think it is in the 4Kids one, but then they changed it not in the Four Kids because like he doesn't have his cigars in the Four Kids one. That's when he's got the 2 lollipops in his mouth instead of cigars.
True.
And there's no smoke around him. There's only smoke when he uses his powers. And oh man, Four Kids.
When he's walking around, when he's walking around watching not the Four Kids anime, he's obviously got like the cigars. Like he's got his 2 in his mouth at all times. He's got
and then on his like bandito,
and on his jackets.
Yeah.
So in Four Kids, what's he running around with? Just Chupa Chups all over his jacket, or how does it work?
I don't think he has the stuff on. I can't even remember what the design looks like in.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's the go-to, isn't it? Like Sanji's got a stick in his mouth or a lollipop.
Yeah, he's got a lollipop in his mouth.
Everyone's got a lollipop. You're a smoker, mate. You're a lollipop.
You're a lollipop.
You're the big yeah.
Chupa Chup.
Chupa Chup sponsored boy. Yeah.
Gotta love those Four Kids Chupa Chup sponsors.
Classy. It could have been worse. Could have been what was like the suction caps and everything else that they bloody used instead of like.
Oh yeah, the darts that God, I'm so glad he got fucking thrown in the dirt in the live action. Krieg, Don Krieg. Krieg. He was shooting suction caps with poison on him rather than darts. And
it's funny to look back now and think like Don Krieg was like the baddest of the bad in East Blue. Well, no, it would have been Arlong, but like
he technically was because like he had a whole fleet. Like it wasn't like you only see his one ship come up, but like he had a fleet, which is like the equivalent of what the like emperors have later on in the series when you guys get to emperors. Like they're pirates with fleets, rather than just your individual. You're nearly a commodore of a pirate crew.
Yeah, I like Smoker Butt.
Yeah, but then he had to wake up, Mihawk from his nap, and had to suffer the consequences.
That's it, 100%.
But also, like, how did he get all those boats through? Like, I know it's a little spoilery if you're only up to here, but like Reverse Mountain, I'm like, how did he get all these boats through Reverse Mountain?
Yeah, some things you just can't think about. Don't worry about that.
Yeah,
but there's always like even in the
that's
future,
why we threw him in the bin in the live action. All right,
yeah.
He was the gag and the joke. What do you think about this episode straight up? This arc. This is kind of like you've got through the storyline of the East Blue. Here's our little appetizers before we get into the grand line and fill in a bit of the blanks that you might have coming into the grand line.
I like the fact that you get the touchstone for Luffy. Like obviously it's Luffy's big dream where he wants to be the king of the pirates, and for him he looks up to Gold Roger at this point in time, even though at the very start you were very forceful on me that it's Gold D Roger, and there's obviously future looks onto that. But it's a short arc, and I think it's just one that, like, before they head off into the Grand Line and have their adventures, it's a bit of touchstones where they're basically getting supplies, but not just supplies on the materials and food and all the rest of it, but even have like Zoro, who lost 2 of his swords when he fought Mihawk.
Yep.
So he's getting those 2 replaced. It's the introduction to, as you mentioned, Smoker, which is good. Like, so if you get to this point here, we've got the Marines, which you think are supposed to be good, and so far we've really had some shitty Marines. And even again, Kobe, the introduction as to all he wants to do is help people, and to do that he wants to be a good Marine. Yeah. And then he's realised, oh shit, not all Marines are
pretty
good.
much all of them are bad.
And that's where the Luffy comes into it, says, well, like again, it's the same thing with pirates. Not all pirates are bad. And so so I think at this point you sort of get this moment where you go, all right, cool, Marines are bad. There's pirates that are bad and good. But Smoker introduces, like, even there's one scene I'm trying to remember off the top of my head where, like, he runs into a girl runs into him with an ice cream, and then it falls over, and then you get that glare where the girl's like, oh my God. And, like, you're so far in your watch through, you already realize, like, okay, so, this Marine's going to either, kick her or something like that.
Yeah, it's a similar reference to, like, Helmeppo.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very, like, it's a replay of that. Like, so you sort of, already know what's going to sort of happen, but it turns out to go the other way. He gives her money, apologizes for it, and to go buy, another ice cream, so to speak.
Yeah,
so
he literally comforts her and apologizes. He goes, sorry, my pants have seemed to eaten ice cream.
Yeah, that's it.
And then he gives her the gold coin. He's like, here, go get yourself 3 scoops. Instead and all that, and just like,
so it's a nice introduction where you've got now the Marines, like you've got these standout Marines, and maybe they're the minority that are really going to stand out in this universe where they've got their. This is where you start getting your own brand of justice, even though they haven't really like. I feel like the live action talks about this early on in the piece to be like, you need to step up and find what your brand of justice is.
Yep.
And this is where you start getting that first viewpoint of here's Smoker, he has a job to do, which he does. And like he has this whole thing of like no criminal escapes LogueTown without being captured by this bloke.
His is humane justice. His one is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's cool. So you get the introduction there. You also get the introduction of Smoker's 2IC, which, what's her name again? Her name is Tashigi. And somehow, like, I did see comments there, Tashigi. I didn't pick it up straight away, but now you look at it back and you're like, yeah, okay, I see it. Tashigi's got that same resemblance to Zoro's, like, good old friends that had passed away.
Kunai? No, oh, Jesus.
Her name is...
Kuina.
Kuina, that's it.
Yep.
So Kuina. So
it's because I had it spelt out in front of me. My mind like said it wrong. Like if you asked me off the top of my head, I was like, yeah, Kuina.
Kuina.
Because I read it, my mind was like, that's not how you say it.
Know. Those dreaded stares. But like you can see how the internet would have gone into like a frenzy, going, "Oh, it's Kuina. She's come back."
Still
like
is at the moment. There's still huge theories that she is either a clone of Kuina, she is actually Kuina, and she didn't die, and she's lost her memories, and
the fact that she's like so into swords, and she knows she's got this massive history. She's like that. She comes off as in like that clumsy, I don't know.
Yeah, the clumsy samurai.
Yeah. Her knowledge on her expertise when she steps up, and she seems to be like the mini Zoro, so to speak. But, like, there's that cool scene where they go into the sword shop and Zoro's obviously looking for the swords, finds that really rare sword. And does that really, really cool scene where he's like...
The Sendai Kuitsu. I think Kuitsu? Oh, that's...
And I'm trying to remember, like, it's the whole... Whoever owns this sword or whoever takes possession of this sword is given bad luck. Like, no person has survived carrying this sword. And so he's like, yep, that doesn't faze me whatsoever. Luck will determine whether I, can carry the sword or not. And then he has that really cool scene where he throws it in the air.
The sword throw.
It's so sick, yeah. If they do that in the live action and they do it well, that'd be very, very cool. God. But they throw it up in the air. It does the whole like revolving around the arm side of things.
Mm-hmm.
And I
not even that it misses, it hits, but with the and then
with the
rotates
back of the
around.
blade, which becomes now that 430 episodes in, there's always those scenes where Zoro, like if he wants to humanely take you down and not do injury on you, then he uses the back, because it's always the same thing, like. That person survived, because you use the back of the sword, so to speak. So it's like his go-to.
What's the famous samurai? The English. Well, the American version was Samurai X, but it was called Renoa Kenshin. There it is. That's what it's called. Renoa Kenshin. That's a good old school anime if anyone wants a nice samurai one. And is actually the first good live action, but they're movies.
Yeah. So I like the introduction of those two. I like Smoker with regards to the Logia type, because this is the first Logia type, as you mentioned, that we're introducing. So you're getting these different, and because there's more Logia types as you go through, obviously. So it's nice to get
because we've only had, I can't remember how to say it, but the Panseas, I think it's called.
That take on the feature,
the attributes or features of something.
Yeah.
While like now Logia is like this person is literally made of this. Not like Luffy is not literally rubber. He just has the attributes of rubber.
Yeah. And I think these type of devil fruits so far in the series seems to be they're most...
the OP boys.
Some
of them, they have their nearly kryptonites, a few of them.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are just like straight up like pre-time skip. You just can't deal with them unless you know they have a weakness. If they have a weakness.
Yeah. So we got Zoro, we got the new entry of these characters. We've got Luffy having that whole reminiscence of like, this is it. This is, here's the what is it? The stand, the plateau, whatever you want to call
execution platform.
Yeah, where like I say, he basically just sits there in the big grand, I don't know, what do you call it?
The arena.
Arena. And just like sort of like looking at it going, wow, this is where it really went down. This is someone that
he wasn't alive yet when this happened.
Yeah. 20 years. I think it was 20 years.
See, like, what's the gen just before millennials? Gen X? Is that Gen X or is that the other side? The Z's?
Gen X? Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know, but the kind of the forgotten generation, like everyone references boomers and us millennials and now the Gen Zers and all that. But like X's are still a thing, and that's kind of like all the people that are between Roger's era and the new pirate era, in a sense. That's like your Shanks, your Mihawks, your... Like, nobody did anything. Like, you find out later, like, you know who he is, but the Roger's rival kind of steps into the position but never claims the title of Pirate King, and nobody has to this day. So like the Gen X generation haven't really done anything big. They're kind of the people that have sat down, but they're all the ones that started this pirate era, because technically they did do the thing. They started the pirate era. They were all there at Roger's execution, and this is where we get our first scene of like with Smoker remembering back, and you get to see the scene that's the first thing in the live action of the Rogers execution. This is where you finally see it, and him doing the even the thing that they left in the live action where they're like, all right, Roger, what's your last like will and testament and stuff? And he's like, well, can you take these off?
Yeah.
And I was like, watching it even again today while I was just going through my last look through, I was like, I'm so glad they kept that for the live action. Like it sets, nice. He's like, I know I'm about to die, but I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll still make a joke about this, and that's where you see the relation, and like that's where Smoker calls it out. Like literally, like it's not that he knew that he was about to get. Like we're jumping forward just a little bit, but like as Buggy goes to execute him, but the sword literally about to hit him, and he goes, "Did he? He knew he was about to be." And then like Smoker goes, "I want to discredit him, but he literally knew in that second he was about to die, and he smiled, and that's when he turns to like that random, Marine, and he goes, "Have you seen any pirate up there smile when he's executing there?" He's like, "Nope." And that's where Smoker goes, "Yep, the last person I knew who did that was Roger." Literally the seconds, and that's why it was so beautiful in the live action where they had him do the big laugh and the smile, even as his last kind of. And that's where we get our, like, the Will of the D. This is, like, setting up Will of D even before we even know yet.
I still don't know. I don't understand the Ds. I'm assuming...
Neither do we!
Yeah, okay. I'm just assuming, my assumption is anyone that's running around with D is obviously a family member or something like that. There's some linkage.
I think they're all related, but not, like, closely. I think they're all from a tribe, or they're from a race, or they were just from a civilization or something.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting for someone to paint this picture of the family tree to be like, yep. So that's the brother, that's the uncle, that's the uncle's thing, and it just turns out to be like this whole Star Wars I'm your father type bit.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like I don't know. But
it might be. Like
there we go.
Like with cloning that we have now and all these kind of things that we have, like maybe they're just all clones of an original person, and who knows?
Maybe. But when Buggy comes back too, so like we haven't seen Buggy in maybe 20 episodes, something like that. He was to hit us straight up, so it's good to see. I guess Buggy's come back, and again, like I know you were at the start, you were like, just be prepared. Buggy hangs around, and he does. Like like you don't see him for ages, and then he just pops
shown
up
back
randomly.
up where you are at the moment.
He does, yeah. But the fact that he just and there's this whole backstory every time he pops up. He's like, I was off doing my own thing, then I ended up here, and then you're here, so I was meant to be, and then like there's always something.
Yeah.
Like,
and that's like Brendan in the live action discussion got annoyed about it. He's like, I don't want to wait a billion episodes. I'm like, you don't. Like, he just, like, other stuff are going on. Like, you are not sitting there waiting for the next Buggy story. Like, Buggy just shows up and gives you more, and you're like, oh, cool. More Buggy stuff. Sweet. And, like, you were messaging me, whether it was today or the other day, and you were like, Buggy's different in this one, and non-spoilery and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, man. Every time you get a new Buggy update, you're like, okay. Like, my whole thought, and it's nearly what you'll come into with the, like, Arlong. Like, when Arlong's backstory finally gets done, once you...
I'm keen for that. But, I am, as we sort of... I've shared with you on socials, and we've talked about it, I'm very much live in that meme world where I really hate a character, and I'm like,
yeah.
And like when they do an introduction to this character, or the character's going this way, Nami a little bit. Like I thought, oh man, like you're a bit of a shit person doing like leaving at that point in time. If it was only that moment at the that last bit of the episode where they're like, maybe one day like this could have worked out, or maybe one day I'll come back and have friends like you. That you were like, oh, there's a bit of like that. But there's other characters in there, not going into who they are because we'll talk about it later. You're just like, I hate you. You're getting so annoying. Like, can someone just put you in the bin? But then then they do the backstory, then something happens, and you're like, I like you. Like, I really like you.
Yeah.
And I think...
Whether it's I like you as a person and a character, or like I like you as a villain.
You.
Yeah. Like, even though I still hate you because you're the villain, I understand you and all that. And that's what I mean, where like, he never feels cheap when he gives somebody a backstory. Like, it's never a backstory and you're kind of like, oh, you just did that to kind of make it seem more important, which I've seen in so many anime.
Yeah.
Like,
I think Buggy is one of those ones for me personally. Yeah. Like at the start, I found him really annoying. Yeah. Like he's got this awesome power. And eventually, as it evolves, like he uses it, like Luffy, like he uses it really well, which is weird because you're like, well, Luffy, mate, you're like, I don't know, 16, 17 years old. Buggy, I don't know how old you are, but you're clearly like in your 30s something.
Yeah, he's nearly my age.
Yeah, so like you've had a lot more time with your chop shop fruit, so you should be the master of all your craft on that one. But even like as he evolves through the story, like he uses the chop shop fruit pattern, or maybe he can do it all the time. He just doesn't uncover what he can do later on. But even with this one, he shows snippets of his type of personality. I still think in this arc.
Yeah, he's still pretty shallow.
Yeah, he's still very shallow. He's still annoying me. You don't get glimpses of anything. Like
Buggy is Oda's favorite character.
Really?
Yes, that's his favorite character.
He'll always look after Buggy then.
Yes. Yeah. And like, not spoilers, but like, you know, getting you intrigued. Like a lot of us in the current like manga readers, we're all like, Buggy for next Pirate King. Like we want it.
Yeah,
like that's how much we've come around on Buggy, that we're like, we hope Buggy will be the next Pirate King over Luffy.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and so the thing with Buggy is, I think he could go either way.
Yeah.
So as it evolves, you're sort of like, you know, he plays.
So he's going to hang around for a long time where you are right now. He will hang around until the end of the pre-time skip. Yeah. So you're going to get a lot of time with Buggy where you are.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Buggy on the drinks is a good time.
Buggy on the drinks is a great time.
He is the mate that you want to hang out with.
That's what I mean. Like the live action, like embraced like future Buggy. Like people kind of ragged on a few of the characters being too what they are later on. Where like Zoro, that's very post time skip Zoro, and that's as much as. I still loved it. I thought it was amazing. But people were like, oh, he's not as, you know, Larrick. He's not as Luffy-ish as he is in, you know, pre-time skip and all that. But then, like, people like, this is what Buggy's kind of like later. Like, where he's a very good written character. Yeah. Where, like, Buggy was just a fun, dumb clown and probably, like, very inspired by the Joker at first, probably, to him. And then he was, Oda, like, loves Buggy.
And that's pretty much what he delivers in this arc, basically. Like, he's there, Luffy's there with the crew, finds an opportunity where he can basically execute Luffy on the top of the podium, his execution podium, as we sort of said. Escapes, you know, like, away from that. And then, I'm trying to remember what happens with Buggy. Like, Buggy just escapes too, probably.
Yeah, no, they all get arrested by Smoker.
Oh, okay. There you go. Cool.
But then Buggy is able to get out and then get on the boat. And then when Dragon's wind is blowing all out, he is able to slip out.
And at this point in time, Dragon appears.
We don't know anything about Dragon.
We don't know anything about him. He's just a dude in
He's just a guy.
He's just a dude. Get the shirt down. In this trench coat looking thing. Hoodie. And
that's what we should have like a shady looking dude.
He's just
dude. and just be like, he's just a dude.
Yeah. Pretty much, yeah. Brendan, you've left a mark on us now.
Yeah. So with Dragon, now that you know his outfit and all that, if you're at this part of the anime, you can go back and watch the first episode of the live action, and you will see him You won't see him front view, but you'll see his like big green trench coat with the hood up from the back view, watching Roger's execution. He's another one of the characters that are in that live action scene.
Yeah. The one thing that I didn't mention too that I think's like a really highlighted area is that I think the arc or the first episode starts where Luffy gets his first bounty.
His bounty, yes. So episode 45 before it does a big huge time skip, which is actually canon but not canon in a sense. It's the episodes, I think it's 46, 47 are like Buggy's adventures, which technically are canon in a sense because they were cover story arcs, as in like they were one panel on a bunch of the front of a bunch of the manga episodes, but it wasn't actually in the manga itself.
Okay.
So you can watch those ones, but it's kind of jumbled around of like Buggy going out and trying to find all his limbs, because they locked him up and then shot him out as that little tiny Buggy form.
Yeah,
and it's all his adventure. And he even references, he's like, Buggy's Grand Adventure. And that's literally what was on the front of those manga covers of like
That's
Buggy's
cool.
Grand Adventure Part 1 and Buggy's Grand Adventure Part 2 and all those kind of things.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get the bounties, as you said, which is the final episode of the live action and is the first episode of this one where we get that, the flash through, we get the... Oh, I forgot what the birds' names are again. The news coups. There we go. The news coup. You get the interaction with Nami of her being like, God, your prices are going up. Come on, man. And all that.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
You know what's like one of the most amazing things? Like, as I said, why I've like loved the world building. They build out what the news coups are and the media and like the organization that actually runs the news coups. And that's a whole thing later on that you'll all find out about.
Yeah, I'd like to think like now, just thinking about it in reflection, I wonder if I straight away look at like Harry Potter and be like, oh yeah, because like everyone goes around with the owls and the owls are running around doing the news and like the letters and things like that. So I'm like, oh yeah, which one came first? And obviously One Piece would have come first.
Yeah.
Assuming
They came out at the same time.
Oh really? Yeah. Okay.
That's the whole joke of like.
Oh, because you think of the book.
Oda did a bit of poor trans-representational characters, but eventually like made some amazing characters and brought back characters and redid them. Well, we know the route that JK went with her trans representation.
Yes.
And now like people going back and reading a lot of the book and being like, oh, this is a bit more problematic than we first realized, and being like, hey, like the goblins are literally, the whole Jewish kind of concept and very anti-Semitism, and like that's literally what Nazis used to call them during World War II, was like goblins and all that. Like, and the how they're drawn and designed is literally the art they used in propaganda things during World War II and all that.
Wow.
It's like,
okay. yeah. Okay. I do like.
It's one of those things of like you can forgive a person because sometimes like a lot of people didn't understand like blackface at first back in the day and where it actually came from and like how slavers used to use it to downplay African Americans. But once people realize and you've been told, and then you double down and go, no, that's not what it is. And I'm like, well, yeah, just because you didn't know doesn't mean it isn't. You pulled it from racist sources.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah, I get it. But it's nice to see, like, even the first live action where the bird,
the
appears straight away. The news crew just appears straight away. So it's setting up that universe because they literally like they are through the universe of the anime, which is really cool. But I do like just to touch on the bounty side of things. I do like it the fact that like it sets it up to be like, okay, it's his first bounty. He takes it as like such a huge leap towards
30
his
mil.
dream, and 30 mil's massive. Like again, if we look at it, like I look at the live action, and you got Buggy the Clown. He was at about 15. You've got who was the Alvida? She was about 10. You've got
Buggy, then Captain Kuro. Then you've got the Sawtooth pirate fisherman,
and then you've got
Don Krieg as well.
Yeah, Don Krieg, and then you got I can't remember what Arlong was. Arlong was probably about 20 something.
Yeah, he was about 20, I think he was.
But just the fact that his first bounty is 30 and the fact that they flash back to Luffy's hometown and how proud they are. Village. You know, and the fact that they look at this and they're just all sort of reminiscing of like, here's the boy that always said that he would go out and chase his dreams and he's doing it. Yeah. And I'm probably jumping ahead. I don't know whether we should have talked about Mihawk or we'll talk about that a bit after.
Well, that happens pretty much like straight
away.
Yeah.
But
it's in that episode.
But again, that whole celebration where it's such a massive milestone, and the fact that they take now just before he hits the Grand Line to have that reminiscence where you're like, for Luffy, and
it's like literally nearly scene for scene in the live action of like Mihawk doing that with Shanks. Like it was nearly scene for scene.
That was done so well. And I love the fact that Mihawk just doesn't break character. Like he's just that coming in like he's from the Addams family, like just no emotion, no reaction. He's like that YouTube no reaction part, and he's just like, "Is this your mate that you keep talking about?" And they're all just like they're like all hung over to the max anyway. They've been partying, and they're like, I'm just not in the mood for anything. I
don't want to fight you, Mihawk.
Yeah, I'm not in it.
And Mihawk's like, I don't want to fight you anymore now because you've only got one arm.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
which sets up a lot of their history of like, what do you mean? Like, ooh,
you guys been fighting? Like, what's the history there? Because you're obviously friends now or on common grounds. But the fact
because you hadn't seen what Shanks, you saw him do, like, you know, scaring off the sea monster, but you haven't seen how strong he is. And then you've seen what Mihawk could do, and then you're like, oh, Shanks fights him on a regular and is kind of like, and is happy to fight him again with one arm. So I'm like, how strong is Shanks? Because the teasing of Shanks' power is I will get on Brendan's side and say like that is still the most annoying shit ever with Shanks. Like the teasing of Shanks, it's just like, and how much people fucking love Shanks. Like I'm not a big Shanks lover.
People
like
love
I don't
Shanks.
think he's bad, but like his reputation overdoes his presence as a fan. Not in the anime because he is insanely strong and stuff like that. But it's just like everyone's like. And they ragged on the live action guy being like, doesn't look anything. I'm like, have you gone and watched Romance Dawn? Like, Shanks is all skinny and runty and like not intimidating at all.
And that's the thing. Like we talked about this on this, like we talked about this prior to the podcast here.
Yeah.
How you've got these characters in the early stage that seem to be like, not like, I'm not talking about like string bean sort of thing, but I'm talking just like thin, lean characters like Zoro, like Shanks. And then, like, I get these forward-looking, foreshadowing views of these guys. And, mate, they've been in the gym. Like, they are buffed as hell. They're massive.
Even Luffy is cut as hell. Like,
even Luffy's, like, got massive shoulders on him. He's no longer like this.
I'm excited. Like, I hope we get to post-time skip. I want to see a Nako with, like, just guns. Absolute guns in the live action.
There's some characters that just don't change. Chopper doesn't change.
Well, Chopper does. No, Chopper does. Like his face design, because they like Oda starts redesigning him as more of a cute character to fit in with the anime version.
Oh, okay.
Because like he's got that snout. And, sorry, spoilers for anyone. Yeah,
like no one knows what we're talking about. Well, they probably do. No matter who knows. But going back to, it's just I think I don't know. Like part of the attraction with Shanks is. It's a long story. Shanks has been there from the start, and it is that father figure to be like, I'm your biggest cheerleader. Like, wherever you succeed, like, I want to be there to cheer you on. And I think that's just that moment where even though they're so far apart, you know, you can tell in that moment there where Shanks has been talking to his arch rival, nemesis, Vegeta to the Goku type thing. Yeah. And has been talking about this kid, you know, and the fact that, like, Mihawk's like, mate, I saw that kid, and, like, look at this bounty sort of thing. And then for the whole crew to be like, how good is this? Look, that's Luffy. Who would have thought, you know? And Shanks always knew sort of thing. So,
yeah.
Very cool. It's nice and touching.
Yeah.
And all I want to do now is I just want to skip probably about 600 and 700 episodes and wait till these guys come back and then just have that moment where you've got Shanks and Luffy and, like, Luffy coming back and going, here's your hat. And then Shanks just going, mate, you keep it. Like, I don't know. Like, I just want that moment where they just size each other up.
I can't wait for you to learn more about the hat in general. Like, the hat has its own history.
Yeah, clearly, because Shanks always talks about, like, it's the most valuable treasure.
To him as well. Yeah.
Well, yeah, so there's definitely got to be a backstory with this hat.
Yeah.
How has this hat survived this long? But It's a freaking straw hat that has been destroyed many times. Like Luffy even destroyed it when he was fighting.
Yeah, because Nami fixed it. Remember?
Yeah.
It just gets fixed. It's straw. You just redo it.
I wonder if the straw was like picked out for a certain reason. Like it's just resilient. It's durable. Like you can
similar to a certain new boat later on in the story.
That's right. Yeah, very nice.
All right. We did dance here and there on stuff, so let's quickly go through everything. Make sure we haven't missed stuff. Luffy's first bounty. We talked about that. Flash through all the people. We get to see Kaya. We get the scene from the live action. The live action did this scene where Usopp sees himself in the corner and he's like, ah!
Yeah,
and so
that's me.
Kaya.
Yeah,
and they did it in the live action. It was so good.
This is
Even
cool.
Kobe seeing it. Captain Kuro. I'd forgotten that Captain Kuro sees the bounty as well. Like he's chilling with his broken ship pirate crew and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Zeph puts it up on the wall, similar to the live action.
That's really cool, and that was in the live action too. That was really good. See, again, it's that whole everyone's celebrating the journeys from everywhere. Yeah.
And the reference to this is kind of setting up to Smoker and future kind of villains and all that. But Zoro going it's a 30 mil bounty. With this much of a bounty, the hunters themselves will become better. And we get absolutely destroyed by the first hunter that kind of comes after him. This is some few anime changes. This is where you get full body. He lost his role in his rank and gone down, but in the
dishonorably discharged sort of thing.
Yeah, in the manga, he's lost his rank, so he's gone down a rank. In the manga, he's actually lost his rank because he helped Django join the Marines.
I miss Django.
1-2 Django.
Yeah.
The Hypno guy? Yeah.
He does come back.
Yeah. He joins the Marines.
Yeah.
And not as a dodgy spy or anything like that.
No, he goes full out. He's had a real game changer.
And Full Body's the one that helps him join and at the sacrifice of his thing, so that's what they kind of changed. And we reference it, I don't know if we've said it in the podcast, but before, this is the big Zoro cutting a cannonball kind of incident. Where that doesn't happen in the manga because there's a whole thing later on about him learning how to cut steel. So
yeah, I did not pick up on that, but I can tell after you bringing to that attention, I can see how the diehard fans would be like, hey.
It's a bit of a bummer because it's also something if people want to nitpick or be anti thing, they're like, well, this doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And it's
I know. Leonardo DiCaprio, hey, rewind that, go back to that part.
Yeah.
That's right.
We get and then we flick to 48, which we get finally the new intro, which is Believe in Wonderland.
Banger.
Yeah. Brendan loves that one. He said
he
that's
loves it. Yeah.
I think We Are is the best. I can't believe he loves it.
That was in my car for ages.
And then we get to LogueTown, new and old faces, Smoker and Buggy the Clown, the crew meet. We talked about all that. Smoker knocking the ice cream. We mixed that. We do get a non-manga but anime canon scene in the Gold Roger bar. This is not actually in the manga, but it is kind of canonish because I like it. It's a good addition, similar to the good additions the live action does eventually as well, where you learn the story and you see a bit of... It does break a little bit of canon that I can't reference because it will spoil stuff, but God Roger's design breaks canon in that scene.
There is there's a couple of memes that go through on Instagram, and that there's a scene in there where Luffy and Zoro share that funny moment where the guy behind the bar is talking about all right, you pirates and you idiots or something like that. Yeah. And they're Luffy just mentions under his breath, hey Zoro, they called you an idiot. And he's like, what? They were talking to you or something like that. Yeah. And it's just a really funny throwback just to you're already getting that relationship between the two of them. How they're just so fun together.
Yeah. I love them so much. Then you get Smoker's recollection. Oh God. He starts telling the story of Roger's execution, which is now we finally get the full Roger's execution rather than how in the live action we get it right at the start. Which is, I kind of think I like the execution at the start. I also like Luffy's stuff at the start in the manga where it starts with Luffy as a kid rather than having that as flashbacks.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't know.
I like the live action because it sets it up. Like
tomato,
for anyone
tomato.
that hasn't seen it, to be like, okay, so why is everyone running out and why is it the sort of pirate era? Because this event occurs and how symbolic that person was.
Yep. It was a good one because like live action is for people that hadn't watched it. So like here we go. We're gonna entice you of why this world is worth your time. Yeah. Where like starting with Luffy on the island as a kid isn't enticing as a non-manga thing. Like when you pick up a manga, it's like, yeah, I'll read the story. Cool. Oh, this is a fun guy. Same with like Hunter x Hunter. They did the same thing as well. They cut to when Gon is a kind of the age he is in, you know, the main part of the story, while in that manga it's actually when he's a kid, and in the anime you see those scenes as flashbacks, similar to Luffy. Like a lot of anime do that. They don't just pick it up from where the manga starts. They kind of mix stuff around.
Yeah.
At the execution, so this is another for our, like, you know, super spies at home and wanting, you know, the extra tiny little weird stuff that only super fans know. This is another one of your Panda Man, Where's Wally scenes. Panda Man, I think we've talked about him a few times. He is a character that is in scenes randomly all through the manga and the anime. He's like either a guy wearing a panda hat or a half panda, half man guy, and he's just in scenes in a Where's Wally kind or Where's Waldo kind of way.
So hang on. So it's a random character.
Yep.
That he's put into like throughout the series.
The series.
And so like fans are just looking out for this one panda.
You're always looking out for Panda Man.
He's just looking, he could be a crowd, he could be in like a crew.
He's in all the movies, he's in the anime, he's in the manga.
He's in the movies.
Yeah. Even the non-canon like movies and stuff like that, there's always a Panda Man.
He's in the manga? He's in the anime?
Live action. There's a Panda Man in one of the scenes in the live action as well. But yeah, so if you're looking for him, when Alvida starts getting all his or her admirers around her, he's in the crowd, like admiring Alvida. So that's
back. He's not in the live action part.
Yes,
he's in the live action. So he's in the manga, anime, and live action,
and all the movies. Yeah, I think he's even in Oda's like other little like short story he wrote before called.
Does he have a backstory, or is he just
no? He's a Where's Wally?
He's just a random like find the scroll, find the glasses.
Absolutely.
Yeah, right. Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. Right. So you can always go back and you're like Panda Man. Oh my god!
Is there like he has to come up in at least once in every arc?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
How the heck? Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, so Panda Man, that's for your sleuths at home, is your Panda Man.
That's what he's been labelled?
Yeah.
Panda Man?
Yeah, Panda Man. Because he is a Panda Man, in a sense.
Yeah. Okay.
And then this is where we get the big execution scene with wow, that was a harsh turn between Panda Man and then
Panda Man. And then we execute Panda Man.
Yeah, and then this is where, like, you also get to see a little bit more Nami's, like, weather kind of predictions, where she's like, oh, these are cumulus clouds, and, the pressure gauge has, like, fallen dramatically. Like, there is a huge storm.
We got to get out of here,
Yeah. We still don't know who, like, with this dragon character, we'll get into who he is later on, but we still don't know whether what he does is a devil fruit, or whether his organization that he is part of has one of the super weapons that we think are in the world at the moment.
And even with this arc, why he goes and defends Luffy and Zoro.
Yeah, and you're just like, who is this person?
Yeah, he's just some random guy that they've never seen before, very mysterious, but he's happy to go against Smoker and defend these two.
Yeah, because like this is like just before this, you also get like a mini fight with Luffy and Smoker Smoker's starting to like win the fight even without using his powers, and that's where you're like, oh.
This is where I feel like Luffy realizes, like, just before, and again, this is a really nice segue into the Grand Line, because like everyone's talking about like Grand Line's next level. You guys have no idea what's in store for you. And then beyond the Grand Line, you've got the next level, which is where I'm heading towards.
Yeah, because you had Arlong, which was like a pretty strong character, and he's from the Grand Line. And then you have this person that protects the Grand Line. Also, Luffy's kind of having a bit of trouble with. I don't know how they're going to do it in the live action, because like Luffy struggles with everybody in the live action, while in the anime, like Luffy pretty much kicks everybody's ass. Struggles a little bit with Arlong, but still comes out pretty easy. And then comes up against Smoker and absolutely hits a wall, and it's just like, oh.
But it's nice. It's nice for the fact that like he's struggling and he's like, oh shit, like I got to lift my game.
And he probably would have lost until this mysterious character rocks up and like grabs. I think this is also where we get not Sandstone, Seastone introduced as well.
Oh, okay.
Because the end tip of Smoker's
that's
jute
right.
is made of. And also the net they throw over Buggy and Alvida has Seastone in it as well. That's why they can't get out of the net.
And like that was good. Like, so when thinking about when watching that back, it's like, surely there's got to be a way that the Marines can fight back. Not just Devil Fruit versus Devil Fruit, you know, Marines versus pirates.
Yeah.
But also the fact that
standard people.
Yeah, the technology has got to evolve where they're like, well, we got to, like, clearly it's seawater that does, you know, that's basically the kryptonite. So if we can harness a concentrated version of this, then obviously we can take over.
But it's so quick and off the cuff. If you aren't paying attention, it goes over your head real quick.
Yeah.
Like, you're like, no, okay, cool.
They definitely unpack it somewhere along the lines. Yeah, okay. Yeah.
That's where certain cages are made out of.
That's right. Yeah, yes.
We also, like, I even love his weapon, the jute, because, like, the jute is an old Japanese policeman weapon. It is an anti-samurai sword weapon. Like, you actually, when dueling with somebody, that little loop-up bit, that's where you catch the sword and you can twist it and it will snap.
Cool.
Samurai sword.
Them. Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So that was a cool little tie back to, like, Japanese police during, like, the Meso era? I think I'm saying that completely wrong, but let's double down on it. I'm a podcaster.
That's all right. Yeah, nice
and then, you have the little duel with... I've forgotten her name already, how to pronounce it. I've lost her already.
Tashigi?
Tashigi.
Tashigi.
There we go. Tashigi.
Yeah,
so many names.
I'd like
the little
to see
duel
where
with
her
Tashigi.
story goes. I reckon like her and Smoker are gonna have some really good like storytelling.
They're around even post time skip.
Yeah.
Smoker and Tashigi. Oh man, good characters.
Tashigi's going to be good because, like, it's that whole relationship where it's like Tashigi's
it's nearly
learning.
the reverse of his previous relationship with Kuna. His childhood friend.
Kawina.
Yeah. It's Kawina. Yeah.
Kawina.
His childhood friend. Where she was better than Zoro, and now it's the opposite way around, where like he's having to deal with him being better, and then she being like, "Why didn't you kill me? Is this because I'm a woman?" And he's like, "Oh, not this shit again. Oh, crap."
Yeah.
Like, no, you're a warrior, and like, I don't need to kill you. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like I nearly the same of like why he nearly repeats what Mihawk does to him, in the sense of like Mihawk realizes I'm so above you, I don't need to kill you.
Yeah,
like I'm gonna let you live because it's not a fair duel. I will kill somebody if you are of my level. Yeah. And it's not because you're a woman, it's because you are not at my level at the moment. Which is like, wow, because you see how good she is, and then you're like, oh, that's right. I forgot how good Zoro is, though.
Yeah. And this is where it's going to be interesting as she evolves through this as well.
Yeah.
Where it's going to take her.
Yeah, because she gets more awesome. But you also, she's a good filler in of the sword lore. Like, you learn more about, as I said, the curse blades we referenced. And so, because there is many curse blades later, but then also the different like rarities and legendary swords through the thing, and like it's setting up a lot of Wano, which is a very later arc.
Well, and I think like that even just where I'm at, they start talking about the different types of blades and like the powers and the backgrounds and things like that. So
because
like,
Zoro's got another sword now, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yes.
And that's so this is where you like when you unpack this, I want to be the greatest swordsman in the world, you realize it's not just about your skill set. It's also about like your respect for the weapons, you like the history between, you know, the tools that you use and all the rest of it. So you're
not about being a good weapons guy. It's like proving even to your own weapons that you are worthy to wield them. Which is then brought up again way later in 1.0, where he gets a sword that literally is like, nope, you are not good enough to wield me.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, nice one.
Well, like he picked up the cursed blade and it's like, yep, I'm good enough for this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's good. It's a good evolution and all that. I do want to reference we did all that stuff, the Marine. Oh, little cool thing I've noticed a few times, because there's a lot of the rain and all that, and that's why that's their plot loop of why they couldn't burn the boats and all that. All the Marines, when they start like, you know, arming and shooting and all those kind of things, you'll notice all of them have bags over their guns, over the part where you would normally put your gunpowder in to keep it dry from the rain. It's just a cool little reference.
Oh, that's cool.
If you watch all those scenes once the rain starts and the Marines, they'll all have these green, like nearly camo bags over like their butt end of their guns to keep the gunpowder all dry.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, cool.
But Dragon's lines. I'm going to use the quotes from the translated subs, because the dubs change what the words are, so that's exactly right. But yeah, because Smoker turns to him and goes, like, why did you stop him? And he goes, and he like nearly ignoring him, but still answers him in the sense, but he's looking out at the sea, at Luffy leaving, and goes, if that's your decision, then go do what you need to do and all that kind of stuff. And then he goes, and then that's when Smoker asks him yet again, like, why him? And he goes, what reason would I be to interfere with that man's departure? As in, like, this dragon talks in a lot of fates, but like it ties into, like, you know, the winds of fates and kind of the theme of his kind of what we think is the devil fruit. We don't know yet. We still don't know. But then we flick to the final scene, which was also, like, depending on which media you watch, the live action also had it in there last episode. The episodes of East Blue have it in before because they don't do LogueTown in that episodes of East Blue, which is the barrel in the middle and them all talking about their dreams of, like, the dreams of the crew, and everyone doing quick references of, like, I want to be the Pirate King, I want to be the world's greatest swordsman, I want to be a brave warrior of the sea, I want to map all the seas, I want to find the all blue. Oh, that's right. That's what we're doing really this for.
Yeah.
Like, this is not the end of a journey. This is them starting their actual journey now. And it was like, God, that's still one of my favorite scenes. And every time it's redone and HD'd and like, I never get over the barrel crew scene. It's so good.
Yeah. There's they always do the flashbacks to it. And I can't remember, there's a certain area there where another crew member joins the crew and, like, they're very new to it and they're, like, having a chat with Zoro and they're sort of like, how do you fit into this? You seem so different to the others.
Yeah.
How
this is Robin,
like, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And so
we can say Robin because Robin's name isn't used until they join the crew.
Oh, okay. So Robin's having this conversation in the early piece as she just joins, and she's just having a chat with Zoro and just says, like, how does this work? Like, you are so different to the others. Yeah. Like, but meanwhile you are so loyal to it. How does your dream sort of match in with theirs? And, like, Zoro just has this moment where he's sort of just like, it's almost like they all back each other, but they have a better chance of achieving their individual goals collectively.
Yep.
And I think that has been the theme all the way through, is that they back each other to step up. And there's an area there with Usopp where it is tested. And it just comes back to the fact that, like, they know that even though they've got their own individual goals, which are very different from each other's, they have a greater chance of achieving it and enjoying the journey along the way, collectively together doing it, which is cool. And they always, like, again, everything that I've sort of watched goes back to that iconic scene where they're all around the barrel. The original crew, the going
East Blue
in there.
crew.
The East Blue crew, which leads up to the next arc, which
the next saga now. We're on to our next saga.
Yeah, that's right. So this is the end of East.
This is
East
the
Blue.
end of the East Blue saga.
Yeah, and then you're on to what's the next saga? What's the next saga called?
Alabaster saga.
Oh, so it is Alabaster Saga. Okay.
Yep. And we go straight into Reverse Mountain.
Mountain Arc.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which is only like 2 episodes without all the fillers.
Is it only 2?
2 or 3. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I'll talk about it at the end, but I'm gonna combine Whiskey Peak and because Whiskey Peak's only like 3 episodes as well.
Yeah, I got a bit to say about Whiskey Peak. The Reverse Mountain.
Whiskey Peak is probably the only time I will shit on One Piece as well.
Yeah,
because there is a certain fight between characters that is not written well.
Yeah,
it's understandable why, but still, kind of nearly ruins a whole bunch of characters and how they're written and their relationships. And
I think from my memory, it's pretty forgettable. So I don't. From everything that I've watched, I never really sort of anchor any thoughts or reflect on that to be like everything was awesome except for that. I think it's just there's just moments in One Piece where it's forgettable, and it's interesting. Like getting that perspective of different people, because some things like people talking about Skypiea, people talk about like Alabasta, and it's interesting to get the feedback from others to see where it really hit home for them. Or where it was forgettable for them. Yeah. It's all part of the appreciation for what we enjoy. Yeah. Get out of it.
So here's your big seed for the future. This is your NATO's seed for I can't remember. I made up a name for this kind of segment. But this is when Luffy is about to get executed and he screams like I'm gonna be,
King of the
next pirate of the king, king of the pirate, king of the pirates.
Yeah.
He actually will create his own Roger moment, in a sense, for a next generation of people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Like in the same way, like when Roger did his thing, and Baby Shanks and Crocodile and everybody's in the crowds, and they go off to become big things. Yeah, there's somebody in the crowd that sees Luffy do this. That's a lot younger, obviously, and Luffy will eventually run into them into the future, and is like, will treat Luffy the same way Luffy treats like Roger and Shanks.
So is it going to be like, it's going to be a Shanks to Luffy moment, is it? Because through the journey, it feels like there's breadcrumbs of that where every time Luffy encounters someone, he leaves an impacting like experience with them.
Yeah.
And that's where you see these flashbacks where they catch up again, and it's like, oh, like, where are you on your journey? And this is how I'm going.
The character isn't introduced. You don't see them. They're just a random person in the crowd.
Okay.
But they will be a thing. Like they get inspired to become a pirate by seeing Luffy do this moment.
Okay.
In the same way, like the pirate era began, like one guy in this crew. Yeah, you'll see him in, I think, like episode 800 or something like that.
Is he in the crowd? Like,
yeah, like you know how like there was just a bunch of yeah. There's a bunch of
he's in this arc. This arc that we've So he's in the crowd.
Yeah.
And you've had to go back, you and every other fan that saw this in episode 800.
Because like when this character shows up and is like, Luffy fanboy, like this character is literally us, the audience as well. Like he is written as like, a One Piece fan in a sense.
Gotcha.
But he's cool.
But he's done it this early in the piece where he's taken this person. Yeah, okay.
It's like, when he runs into that, he's like, I was there at LogueTown when you nearly got executed and that lightning hit the tower. And like,
that's cool.
I was so, I had to go out and become a pirate after seeing that. And I was like,
that's cool. That's a nice flashback.
Yes.
So can I ask one more question?
Yeah.
Is there so again, we're talking about like we're talking about these early episodes here, the 45, the 48, your low 50s. Even if I'm up to 430, is there like after Goldie Roger in the current time now where we've got Luffy, is there a King of the Pirates?
No.
Okay.
Still no King of the Pirates. The race is on insanely at the moment. Like there is like Luffy and about 4 other crews that are like literally running to the finish line at the moment.
Is the criteria to be king of the pirates simply to find the One Piece?
No, I think it's like the prestige, and also like the government themselves. I think labeled him king of the pirates.
Because I'm just looking at this going, like 20 years on, surely there's got to be these OP baddies out there that
no, because nobody's found the One Piece yet.
So but that's it. So part of this criteria is, what is it? Wealth, fame, power. So maybe there's a criteria there where
it's just copying what Roger did. Like nobody has conquered the Grand Line properly yet. Like his rival, as I said before, like could do it but doesn't want to. Like, that's not his dream. That's not why he became a pirate and all that. Like he you find out later he's like I want a family. Like I want to build a crew and a family and all that. Like that is my goal. And that's all he does. He is easily as powerful enough to go do what Roger did.
Yeah.
But he doesn't.
All right. And there's like, I'm not looking for spoilers here, so I'm very careful. But was there a King of the Pirates
No.
Goldie Roger? Okay. All right. So he's
the
original.
There was somebody that was either more powerful
but
than
didn't have
Roger.
the title.
Yeah.
Well, there was no such thing as a title.
There was no such thing.
Like the Goldie Roger has just like through his own journey, he's been labeled this.
Yeah.
Okay. Gotcha.
Because he does well. Like even him beating this previous thing with another character that I can't reference because that will just spoil stuff.
Gotcha.
Because I don't even know how to explain this without
this is this meme. Like, do you have you been up to this? Do you know what I'm talking about? Like,
no. It's literally like I need so many spoilery things to explain this non-spoilery thing.
Oh well, that's all right. That's what we got this podcast for. We'll eventually get there.
Let me just say there was a super crew of pirates that had the biggest and baddest on it. Like literally had a Roger as nearly every single member in a sense.
Right. Okay. And they've just gone out and done their own thing.
Roger had to team up with some certain people to fight these people.
Right.
The captain, obviously, we still don't know. Like, apparently the captain died, but we never saw bodies. And you know the rule in media. If you didn't see a body, they die.
Yeah,
There's even theories that this person has gone on to be, like, the emperor of the world or something like that. I don't know. We don't know. It's all speculations. The members of this crew have gone out to become the next strongest pirates. Like, there's the 4 emperors of the sea. 3 of them were crew members of this boat. And then so they eventually made their own crews and now have like done stuff and they're the emperors and all that. So
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, there's plenty, I guess, to look forward to.
Yes.
And there's plenty to open up on it.
Yeah.
LogueTown, in a nutshell, for me, was good in the sense of like it was a nice exit from everything that we've been building up to get the characters that we've got. And it's a nice leapfrog off, leap pad off.
It's nearly like an epilogue of a book.
Yeah.
Like it's not really part of the main story because like that's what I mean. The live action didn't have it. Episodes of East Blue didn't have it, but I hope the live action season 2 because it sets up like you see that
they'll have to
Smoker can be the Garp of season 2 if you set him up properly. So then do LogueTown because it's a good setup for Smoker. Like you could get it done in nearly 1 episode. Like do all of LogueTown, set up Smoker. You've got an hour, and then you have him for all the rest of the series as him properly following him through like all the rest of the arcs till Alabasta itself.
Yeah, I want to know.
I want to know 4 or 5 episodes in Alabasta.
I want Smoker's backstory. I want everyone's backstory.
I don't think Smoker has much of a backstory. Like he just saw the Roger execution. And then you
don't even know like Smoker's backstory to where you are.
Yeah. So he might have one. Okay. I don't think so. If he does, it's not that memorable.
I expect everyone to have a backstory. I want to know everyone's backstory. I want to know what happened when they were like growing up. I want to do all these things. And
so like backstories are good only if they are building something. And like Smoker doesn't need like his character is built in the present, not because of what he was.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought he'd have this like backstory similar to.
He might do. I might have just forgotten it. We might get to it, and I'll be like, Smoker's backstory.
I like the backstories. The backstory seems to be cool. They're the emotional attachments and the lights on in my heart. That keeps me going.
That's how I know you're gonna finish One Piece, like straight up, because that's all One Piece is. It's just like what is everybody's trauma, and then how are they dealing with that trauma?
Yeah.
Like
I'm just tired. I'm tired, Nato. I'm getting fatigue, but it's not. I keep getting to areas, but where I'm like, oh, this is getting good, and then all of a sudden I keep pushing through, and then I'm like, and then I get to a lull part, and I'm like, oh, okay, this is where I get the fatigue, and then something happen.
You're about to start Marvel's Endgame, like straight up.
All right, yeah, well, okay, all right. Well, afterwards I'll go crush some
War,
episodes.
Like
what? Yeah, okay.
Summit War makes what is the first? It's Endgame, and what are the two movies?
Endgame and shit.
Forgot the one before it.
Everyone's gonna be screaming at us. You idiots!
Yeah. Look, I'm not looking it up, so I don't care. That's how much I care.
B1 and B2.
But yeah, if you think you've seen a lot of characters coming back in currently where you are, everybody come back for the Summit War. Fucking every character. And you like any important character. So like fucking Kaya's not rocking up in the Summit War. But I mean, anyone of any power is going to be in the Summit War.
Sweet.
So you're like, oh man, fucking me. Yeah, Mihawk was cool to talk about in this. I wonder when he's coming back. I don't know, buddy.
Very cool. I like Mihawk. All right. So next one we're touching about Reverse Mountain Arc.
Yeah, so get ready. We've left the East Blue and starting with the Grand Line and the new saga, the start of the Alabasta saga, and we're going to start Reverse Mountain Arc and Whiskey Peak Arc. So that is going to be episodes 61 to 67. So it's actually quite another small one for us. Before we get to figure out what we're going to do with the bigger arcs, whether we're going to have to do them in like part 1 and part 2s, because
we're going to have to. They're too huge. Alabasta is just ridiculous. Like, we'll be here all day.
Yeah.
Unless we, I don't know. Yeah. Spitfire some stuff out. But you and I can't do that, mate. We love to have a chat.
That's the thing. Like, we could talk about the main plot, but then we miss things like Eyelash.
Yeah, I love Eyelash.
That's what I mean.
Can't miss Eyelash.
Yeah, that's what I mean. No, like, we're going to have to cut it up.
Not deserve to be missed. No.
How are you going to be with the live action? Because Eyelash might not be in it, buddy.
I'm sad. They need to put him in.
Yeah.
They need to put him in. They need the pervy camera.
The viewers good. The viewers and listeners that haven't seen Alabasta are like, who's this Eyelash guy?
Is he in the movie?
I haven't watched episodes of Alabasta in a long time.
Okay.
Yeah.
I really hope he's in the movie.
Because I usually just watch the anime and just skip stuff that I don't need to watch.
I just want Gear 5 to come, and then you got like Eyelash just like going,
bro, like, because what have you seen so far?
Of what? Of Gear 5?
Of Gears.
Not much. I every time I see it, I push through.
Name the Gears that you've seen.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah. So,
and I don't know if there's variations. So I don't know.
Well,
I've seen 3.
There's a number between 3 and 5, buddy.
Yeah. I've seen the pictures.
Oh, you've seen Gear 4 pictures?
I've seen figures. I want to buy one. They look sick.
I know, Gear 4.
I have no idea. This is the thing about it. I have no idea how he gets there. I don't know why he's got his, like that. He's got the black hand type style. Yeah. I don't know any of that. That's why I want to get into this. It's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. 2 years worth of training.
2 years worth of training. See? Yeah. Now we're getting to the Dragon Ball style. We're getting power levels and all the rest of it.
We still don't. We still don't. Like, every time we think we're getting power levels, they introduce something. Because, like, Oda hates power levels and all that.
But he loves Dragon Ball. He's a massive fan. But he doesn't like power levels. He doesn't like scanners.
He hates the shonen concept of power levels. That's why, when Robin gets introduced and her bounty's so high when she was like 6 years old.
But the power levels of the bounty, you said this from the start. Like,
but
the power
it
levels
doesn't necessarily relate to power levels. It's how much the government thinks they're... And that's the big thing with Dragon. We don't know if he's actually strong or just he's that dangerous to the government as his organization. I'm going to leave it at that without spoiling stuff.
All right.
We can talk about this off. We'll finish this before we get another 3-hour episode. Well, we're going to gotta go, and set sail for One Piece. This has been I've got to change it here. I've still got the red line down under, and I keep saying it every time we finish this. But
it's a good title, but I'm very happy that we've updated our image.
A boy in a barrel podcast. I have been your host and current Pirate King, not retired yet, not executed. Who knows? Why did somebody so powerful allow himself to get executed? Who knows? Well, you can find me everywhere at IKnowNato on the interwebs. Mostly just Twitter. That's the easiest way. And this has been hopefully our future Pirate King himself, Dane Pevy. Where can the people find you and all the wonderful things you do?
Still a chore boy. So Dane PV, pretty much everywhere. Like just on Twitter, Instagram.
Yeah.
Keeping pretty low key, but yeah, you can find me on Instagram and that. That's good.
Yeah. Also, I will be trying to throw these. We're starting to record in a different concept with a bit of video and all that. I'll hopefully have chucked these up on my YouTube at IKnowNato as well. So just go find them there if you want the full uncut, dirty, raw
version. Is that what we're going to film after NATO?
Yeah.
Only
One Piece After Dark, you know.
I got to get that sponsorship.
Well, so here's your little another cool facts from the superfan. In the manga, every once in a while, Oda does a Q&A, and he will usually answer every goddamn question. And I'm just going to tell you, yes, Luffy's dick stretches as much as the rest of him. And that's going to be the end of this podcast, everybody. Thank you. My fortune is here for the taking, and you'll have to find it first. I left everything I own in one piece. Goodbye.
See you guys.